Dear friends, to your attention is our report about a research empirical method of evaluating the numerical values of metrics in the process of medical software quality determination. It's a combined effort of our researchers team from National Technical University of Oil and Gas and Vasily Stefanik Prikарpattian National University, both locations, Ukraine, Ivano-Frankivsk. So, in our days, every field of information technology, numerous numerous ways, methods, technologies, and approaches in order to develop very different application. In our scope of our research is a medical software. It's a very important field of application because today's medicine and healthcare uses all the question of complexity and expansion of application for modern software, and it becomes more complex. It can be described as a process with growing responsibilities for the its functions and the requirements for the quality increased drastically last year. So, according to this question of complexity, the number of defects and errors found in them are growing too, which is reflected in the question of software quality. So the challenge is to provide the required software quality, considering some unknown amount of remaining defects, the impact of which need to be localized and minimized for the purpose of further improvement of the software and with the aim to build new effective solutions of higher quality in the domain of human healthcare. So our problem formulation is about to estimation of the numerical value of software quality. Of course, it's need to be based on some kind of model with necessary metrics that can be quantified numerically, and as a result, we obtain values that is worth of considering, and we have ways to estimate numerical values as part of empirical approach, and the main requirements to such approach is validity, diagnostic power, reliability, and representativeness of selection. So empirical research methods can be divided to as observation, measurement, comparisons, and experiment. So they are all is same to you answer the pure empirical question. It should be precisely defined according to the such data. And as a rule, researcher has certain theories to prove on the subject for which the research is conducted. Based on this theory, we need to prove for certain assumptions, or these assumptions is a part of forecasting for specific events that follows from these assumptions. So the main part of report is about methods we use to get closer to the main goals of research, and we can quantify quantify these methods in some sections, like sections 1 is about completeness, corrections, and appropriateness. So it uh, can be featured with realized requirements and the number of function that is performed and that was failed. Second section is about behavior in the software behavior in the time stretch and resource utilization and all other capacity question that would give us some average of the actual parametric limits, and these can be specified in requirements, initial requirements, and the number of resources required for the specified task, and we use it for the metric allocation, and every step in this direction will be tightly related to the question of appreciating reconcilability, interoperability, coexistence, and capacity, where we need to explore the average of the actual parametric constraints specified in the field of requirements, and where is a question of functional parameters can be stated as relevant or irrelevant values to the under normal conditions or hours of modification, whereas the question of interoperability is a question of working with shared data, and the value of functional parameter we can state the normal condition. So second category of methods is a method of learnability, operability, and user error protection. The errors is would be counted in the system as a number of protected functions and the related to the total number of functions, and it gives user ratings that would allow match the general time spent in the developing by developing the system, and it would allow to appreciate to measurement for integrity and confidentiality of the system, and recoverability of for fault tolerance on the expected metrics of the system, and the question of their maturity and accessibility in the it is based on the developed functions that have satisfied the question on the reliability of the system, and the question of the total number of requirements for such a question of reliability, and on the general number of successful chain actions and the total chain actions on the total number of actions. Solve in the question of methods for accountability and authenticity, we formulate the general scope of modularity, and this modularity is based on the values of quantification for the parameters for adding new module to the system. Such a approach with the open architecture is very promising and may be only possible for medical system because it's a system in the constant change and looking for the new opportunities for solutions. So after we testing new modules, we can analyze the question of reusability, reusability and modifiability at all. So it's at every step of development we can precisely know to what scope the system can be modified and what will be affected the stability and adaptability of the system and in relation to the all abilities for characteristics before and after system changes. So in the question of replaceability, we get general results in the all characteristic with according to the requirements imposed, and as one of main results is quantity assessment of software product quality. That is numerically expressed one. Is we use here the question of functionality, usability, reliability, performance, compatibility, security, maintainability, and portability. All these parameters is used to the to build up final results as a question of quantitative assessment. Practical study of empirical models for metrics over to is a ways to assess quality of medical software. We have allocated all interface elements to the maximum user convenience, and we have a registration form, authorization, and all this list of functionality for online services. Here is a screenshots of program working. Yes, and is all this form listed and is ready to upload. So finally, conclusions. This report, this research, we use the empirical methods for evaluation of medical software quality that allows to estimate numerical values on the imposed characteristic. This was research is a problem in the areas of medical software developments, and all needed assessments was provided with empirical characteristics, and here is need for evaluation from the side of team working, and all this finally will give the area for to build a system of expert level that will provide expert advices generations in the form of solutions and conclusions in the area of human health. So our contact is on the first slide. Would be glad for the further discussions and so on. Thank you for attention.